I'd like to call the Monday, January 13, 2020 Blue Springs Planning Commission meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome everyone this evening and those viewing at home. Tonight's agenda consists of the following. The consent agenda, items 2 and 3 for Deer Creek. The applicant has requested that to be continued. Item 4, amended planned unit development concept plan. And item 7, preliminary plat for Villas North at Chapman Farms. Item 5, rezoning, and item 6, amended planned residential overlay concept plan for Eagles Ridge PRO commercial first plat. Item 8, other business, and item 9, adjournment. At this time, I would entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. There are 2 public hearings tonight, so I'll read the procedures for the public hearings. Number 1, I will introduce the item. There will be a staff and call for exhibits from the city attorney. There will be a staff presentation, questions for staff from the commission. The applicant will make a presentation, and there will be questions for the applicant from the commission. Those in favor, and then there will be questions for the proponents from the commission. Then there will be opponents and questions from the commission for the opponents. Then commission discussion, and then I will close the public hearing. Items 2 and 3 for Deer Creek, the applicant has requested to continue to Monday, January 27, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to extend the public hearing rezoning for Deer Creek and also the public hearing plan development PD concept plan per the applicant's request to January the 27th. And that's items 2 and 3.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Madam Chair, before I make a second, could I ask a question of the staff about this? Do we have since we've extended this one time, are we going to be extending this every 2 weeks, or are they actually going to be here in 2 weeks? I'm concerned that we're not being fair with the public if we keep extending this every 2 weeks.
That's a very valid question, and we've reached out to them multiple times to see if they are actually going to keep this moving forward. I believe under the code we have the ability to grant them at least 1 or 2 continuances, but if we reach out to them tomorrow and they tell us that they're not ready to move forward, then we will remove it from the public hearing calendar and make them come back through the process.
Yeah, I'd like to have it reposted if we have to continue this again after this.
Yes, because this is getting to the point where we keep just kicking the can down the road.
Yes, okay. I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion has carried. Items 7 and 4 for Villas North at Chapman Farms, amended PUD concept plan and preliminary plat will be heard together and voted on separately. I'll open the public hearing for the amended planned unit development concept plan PUDC 1219-7188 Villas North at Chapman Farms and ask the city attorney for the exhibits.
Thank you. I offer the following exhibits into the record. Exhibit 1, staff report with attachments. 2, application with attachments. 3, affidavit of publication in the Examiner on December 28, 2019. 4, 185-foot notification map. 5, names and addresses of property owners within 185 feet of the site. 6, copy of the letter sent to said property owners. 7, Title IV Land Use Section, Blue Springs Code of Ordinances by reference. And 8, 2014 Comprehensive Plan by reference.
Thank you. Mr. Wright, would you like to present?
Yep, thank you, Madam Chair Fairbanks. Before you this evening are 2 requests for the development of a 21-lot single-family subdivision known as the Villas at Chapman, or the Villas North at Chapman Farms. Proposed 3.84-acre site is located south of the intersection of Southwest Mason School Road and Southwest 2nd Street, and is currently zoned SF7 PUD RO, which is single-family with a restricted overlay and a planned unit development. And is part of the Chapman Farms PUD, which was first approved in 2004. In 2009, the subject property was split from the remaining 16 acres to the east, which was purchased by the Lee Summit School District. As part of that process, in 2009, the previous PUD concept plan on the property was removed, and therefore a new PUD is required to be established on the property prior to development. Since the Chapman Farms PUD concept plan was approved under the 1996 UDC and a rezoning is not required, the proposed development is being reviewed under those 1996 UDC requirements, similar to the Edgewater at Chapman Farms development that was reviewed by the Planning Commission last spring. The first request is for a PUD concept plan, which includes 21 single-family lots and 2 common open space tracts. Access to the site will be provided by an extension of Southwest 2nd Street from the south in the Villas at Chapman Farms, which will connect to Southwest Mason School Road and align with Southwest 2nd Street to the north in Greenbrier at Chapman Farms. Southwest 2nd Street will be developed as a collector street with a 60-foot right-of-way and 5-foot sidewalks on both sides. That is an additional 10-foot of right-of-way than would normally be required on a residential street. As part of the PUD, minimum lot and development standards must be established for the property. Through the PUD, the applicant is requesting to reduce the minimum lot size and lot widths. The main reason for the reduction in lot sizes is driven by the narrowness of the lot, which is only about 250 feet across. The minimum lot size is proposed to be reduced from 7,200 square feet to 4,424 square feet, and lot width reduced from 65 feet to 50 feet. The applicant is not requesting the reductions in any setbacks or other development standards as part of the PUD. Landscape buffers for the site are required adjacent to general business zoning, which is located on the west property line, where a 25-foot buffer would typically be required. However, a full 25-foot buffer would require a further reduction in the minimum lot sizes, given the limited lot depth due to the 2nd Street extension and the west property line. Therefore, the applicant is requesting to reduce the landscape buffer from 25 feet to 10 feet. This is consistent with the 10-foot landscape buffer to the south in the Villas at Chapman Farms. Landscaping and street trees are required to be installed and will be reviewed and approved with the PUD final plan. Under the Chapman Farms PUD, the parent lot of which the property came from required a minimum 15% open space. The development has provided 16.93% open space, exceeding that minimum 15%. Due to the small size of the development, the applicant is proposing landscaping and park benches in each tract as the open space amenity. Due to the limited number of lots and the land area, there is a larger amenity is not warranted for this development. The minimum proposed minimum floor area classification for all 21 single-family lots is 1,400 square foot, which matches the 1,400 square foot to the south in the Villas at Chapman Farms. There are no other single-family residential subdivisions that are contiguous with the property. Conceptual front elevations have been provided for the single-family homes and are similar to homes recently built or under construction in the Villas at Chapman Farms. Each home is a two-story. It has a two-story elevation with a front-loaded two-car garage, and are generally in the modern farmhouse or craftsman styles. Staff did review the proposed development under the PUD concept plan review criteria, which is on pages 6 and 7 of the staff report. Staff does believe that the requested modifications to the lot sizes, widths, and the landscape buffer are warranted due to the unique shape of the lot and the limited potential lot depths due to the right-of-way through the center of the property. The proposed development provides a housing project that utilizes smaller lots while still meeting the standard setbacks and accommodating housing styles and sizes comparable to adjacent subdivisions. The development is also consistent with the goals and objectives of the 2014 comprehensive plan and the S1 area plan designation of the property as a mixed density neighborhood, in which the development does fit within that definition. The second request is for a preliminary plat for the 3.84 acre property, which would subdivide the property into 21 lots and 2 common tracts. All public improvements are required to be completed prior to final plat approval, with the exception of sidewalks adjacent to lot frontages, which must be installed prior to occupancy of each lot. All common tract landscaping and amenities must be installed or financially guaranteed prior to final plat approval. If financially guaranteed, those landscaping and amenities must be installed prior to the occupancy of the first lot. A final plat must be approved and recorded prior to issuance of any building permits for the development. Staff does recommend approval of the PUD concept plan with 8 staff conditions and approval of the preliminary plat with 18 staff conditions, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions for Mr. Wright? Okay.
Excuse me, I would like to add one more thing from staff's presentation. This is a land bank property that the city land bank owns, and that there is quite a bit of construction debris that is on the site, and that there's a pretty extensive cost associated with this project in order to remove that debris to the tune of $200,000. And so I just wanted to make you aware of that this is a land bank property and that the developer is proposing to clean up a site that has previously been undevelopable to this point.
Thank you, Mr. Mallon. I'd like to call the applicant to come forward. You'll need to be sworn in with your name and address.
You solemnly swear to tell us the truth and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes. John Broker, 27300.
Into the mic, please. Yeah.
John Broker, 27300 East Pink Hill Road, Independence, Missouri.
Thank you, Mr. Broker. Do you have any presentation?
I do not really. Matt covered everything pretty well. The big thing is the dirt on that lot, like they said, is like $200,000 is what we've had bids to remove it for. So that is a lot of the cost involved. Also, the fact that that is a collector that will connect those 2 streets and make a great thoroughfare for fire and emergency. I think it's really going to be a plus.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do the commissioners have any question for Mr. Broker?
Yeah, I do, Madam Chair. I did have a question on going from 50 to 60, from the 65 width to the 50. Seems like it's going to be very narrow lots.
With not changing the setbacks, you're not, I mean, yes, the lots are going to be smaller, but you're still going to have your 8-foot minimums on each side.
Right.
So you're still going to have plenty of room between. We've done all the little row homes downtown, and we're starting to see a lot of people not want the big yards. So I think it's a plus in that manner as well.
Now, will these have basements?
Yes. I mean, I guess there is the option that if someone wanted it on slab, they could.
Oh, well, I just wanted to find out because it just seems, you know, the side yards will be small anyway, and then if we're not wanting a big yard, I just wanted to find out if
Yeah.
it was just to get more houses or you just wanted smaller yards.
It's really the financial side of it to get enough lots to make it worth doing it.
Okay.
Any other questions from any commissioners? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Broker. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Any other questions or comments for the Planning Commission? Then I'm going to close the public hearing. I'd like to request a motion for Agenda Item 4, amended PUD concept plan with 8 staff conditions.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Broker. Mr. Commissioner. Commissioner. They told me that. Commissioner.
It's all right. I would move for approval of the PUDC 1219-7188, the planned unit development for the villas north of Chapman Farms with the staff conditions.
Second. 8.
8 staff conditions. Yeah.
I have you.
This will be a roll call vote.
Planning Commissioner Veal,
Aye.
Commissioner Cradoff,
Aye.
Commissioner Banks,
Aye.
Commissioner Billups,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Stokenberry,
Aye.
Commissioner Hose,
Aye.
and Vice Chair Fairbanks.
Aye. Okay, this item will be heard at the City Council meeting at their January 21st meeting at 6 o'clock. Okay. Do I
Madam Chair?
request a motion for item 7?
Right. You got it.
I would also move for approval of the preliminary plat PP 12197187 with the 18 staff conditions.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so the next item is item number 5 and 6 for Eagles Ridge PRO Commercial First Plat, and that will be heard together and voted on separately. So I am opening the public hearing for rezoning RZ 1219-7190 and amended planned residential overlay concept plan PROC 1219-7189 Eagles Ridge PRO, and ask the city attorney for exhibits.
Madam Chair, I offer the following exhibits into the record for RZ 1219-7190. Exhibit 1, staff report with attachments. 2, application with attachments. 3, affidavit of publication in the Examiner on December 28, 2019. 4, 185-foot notification map. 5, names and addresses of property owners within 185 feet of the site. 6, copy of the letter sent to said property owners. 7, Title IV Land Use Section, Blue Springs Code of Ordinances by reference. And 8, 2014 Comprehensive Plan by reference. And for public hearing, PROC 1219-7189, I offer the following exhibits into the record. 1, staff report with attachments. 2, application with attachments. 3, affidavit of publication in the Examiner on December 28, 2019. 4, 185-foot notification map. 5, names and addresses of property owners within 185 feet of the site. 6, copy of the letter sent to said property owners. 7, Title IV Land Use Section, Blue Springs Code of Ordinances by reference. And 8, 2014 Comprehensive Plan by reference.
Thank you. Mr. Jury, would you like to present?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before you today are the 2 requests, the rezoning and the amended planned residential overlay concept plan for a property located at the southeast corner of 7 Highway and Eagles Ridge Drive. The two applications cover 2 different acreages. The rezoning specifically covers the area shown here as Tract 2A, or the northern portion of the property. The PRO concept plan, or the amended PRO concept plan, covers the entire 2A and 2B shown on this tract, or on this plan. Since it is one property currently all platted back in 2006 as Tract 2, a commercial tract that does need to be replatted before it can be developed. The request today is rezoning Track 2A, the northern portion, is requesting to do so from GB PRO to the requested TF PRO zoning. The zoning on Track 2B will remain, so that's not part of the rezoning request. The PRO concept plan amendment is requesting to change Track 2A from a proposed and what has been previously approved as a restaurant pad site on that portion of the property, and they're requesting to change that portion to a community clubhouse with a pool, and to be platted as a open space tract for the two-family development of Eagles Ridge. Staff has reviewed this request, and they still need to go through a couple processes if these items are approved. The prior to building permit issuance of the clubhouse and the pool, the PRO final plan must be approved, and a plat subdividing Track 2 into Track 2A and 2B to separate the two parcels into two separate properties, since there will be two zoning districts if the rezoning is approved. Additionally, the commercial property proposed as Track 2B, the balance of the property, will remain undevelopable as a tract until the necessary street right-of-way in the southeast corner of Track 2B is vacated, and a final plat converts Track 2B into a developable lot. And a PRO final plan and a site plan design review application must also be approved before a commercial building can go on the Track 2B, which has to be platted as a lot. As far as the condition or the criteria, review criteria for this request, I'll go over the concept plan first. There are no modifications proposed as part of this concept plan amendment. However, all conditions and requirements from the previous approvals of the concept plans for Eagles Ridge are still in effect and remain binding, except as specifically proposed as part of this approval. So the ordinances 4617, 4648, and 4694 that were previously approved in 2016 and 2017 will be in effect as well. The phase one of this development, the clubhouse and the pool, the developer is looking at working on that and beginning construction on that in 2020. The remaining portion of the property, there is no timeline yet on that commercial portion. As soon as a buyer comes, they'll have a timeline and begin that process of what needs to remain, or the remaining items that need to be approved on that property. As far as public improvements, the sidewalk surrounding Track 2A, shown here, has to be installed prior to occupancy of that clubhouse. The Track 2A can be platted administratively, but the occupancy of that clubhouse will be determined based on the installation of that sidewalk. Also, a pedestrian access easement would be required if this, and recorded at the county, if the proposed sidewalk along 7 Highway is on private property. If it's in the public right-of-way, no sidewalk easement would be required, but if it is on private property, we do need a public access easement across the private property. As far as the proposed clubhouse and pool, since this request is changing or converting land previously approved as a commercial property into an open space property. This is actually helping their allowance in terms of their required open space. So they're adding to the required open space, and so they're in further compliance with the PRO standards. The clubhouse and pool, the applicant has not provided architectural design or elevations for said pool or clubhouse, but one of the conditions staff has requested is that the PRO final plan must be approved with a pool and clubhouse that complements the architectural design and styling of the existing Eagles Ridge development. And I believe that covers the most of the PRO concept plan. As far as the rezoning request, as you can see here on the map, the northern portion of the property is the requested rezoning. The applicant is proposing the community clubhouse and pool, and this meets the allowed uses and allowed building types, small civic building with a pocket park in the requested TF zoning district. With this being a tract instead of a buildable lot, a residential house would not be allowed to be built on a tract. So there is, since it is remaining a tract and will be a tract even after platting, then no house could be built on the two-family zoning district tract, and it's not being converted to a lot. So it only can be an open space tract. Staff believes that the requested rezoning meets the comprehensive plan intents and also the zoning intents and purposes, and all the review criteria for the requested rezoning are met, and so staff does recommend approval of the rezoning request as well as the requested amended PRO concept plan with 5 conditions on the concept plan, and I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions for Mr. Jury? Commissioner Billups.
Thank you. I have a whole string kind of related questions as we go through here. This clubhouse, and I'm not sure I understood what you just said about the fact that you couldn't build houses on this with the two-family zoning.
It's a tract.
But they could come back and change it out of a tract and divide it into lots once we've changed the zoning. Would that be correct?
They could. Staff would probably recommend against that based on its location along 7 Highway for residential. And it's a concept plan as well. And so the concept plan is a binding in itself.
Could the clubhouse be built with the current zoning if we change the overlay, the PUD? If we
instead of a PRO,
the PRO, yeah. If we change that to allow the clubhouse on that lot, could it still remain with the commercial underlaying zoning?
We could write it in a way that could happen, I guess.
Because respectfully, I disagree with one of the statements, and I can't put my finger on where you made it, about not having enough or having too much commercial space as we go down 7 Highway.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a commodity as we get closer, or as that area builds up, and especially if we undo the 2 large box lots that I think is probably going to happen at some point. I don't think we have an overabundance of commercial space going down there, and it's something we can never get back. So I don't like changing it to 2-family, even if the tract thing, even if they have to come back to us, it gives them an opening to go in there and at some point try and put something other than a clubhouse on that lot. And I'm not saying anything about this developer. I'm saying somewhere down the road, somebody else could own it. Somebody could say, hey, the zoning's there. Let's see what we can do.
Are there any other questions from?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This clubhouse is for the duplexes and the townhomes. Is that right?
That's the intention of the developer, yes.
But it's adjacent to the single-family homes. It's not adjacent to the two-family homes.
Correct.
So the single-family houses would not be able to use it?
I'll let the applicant answer that question. Yeah.
And I thought there was already a clubhouse, or at least a pool structure, somewhere else in this development.
The single-family portion has their own clubhouse and pool. Yeah.
That the two-family development can't use.
I believe, if I remember correctly, that it is part of the covenants and restrictions that it is for the single-family portion.
Okay. Okay.
He asked my questions, so.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the commissioners for Mr. Jury? Okay. Would the applicant like to?
I would just like to clarify as well as to Nathan's comments that not only by leaving this as a tract, the only thing that can be built on a tract is like a community amenity such as a pool and clubhouse. And so if they were to try to turn it into a lot, then that would have to come back through Planning Commission for approval. And the fact that it is a PUD concept plan, the fact that they are putting it in as a clubhouse, any type of change to that, if they were to try to turn it into a residential lot, would have to likewise come back through this commission.
Thank you for that clarification. Are there any other questions of Mr. Jury? Would the applicant like to come forward and make a presentation? You'll need to be sworn in. Name, address, serial number.
Brian Ron.
Sir, can you raise your hand?
Nope.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Brian Ron, 1000 Northwest High Point Drive, Lee Summit.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time this evening. The project that we're looking at here is to create a clubhouse and pool for, like the discussion, the multifamily portion of the project. We about a year and a half, 2 years ago, put in a pool on the single family side. And just like discussed, the covenants have that services the single family. The amenities for the multifamily, there really haven't been. So we're looking at putting some of these amenities in. We looked at a lot of different locations. We worked with the city here to try to figure out what was the best way to go about this, to put a clubhouse in. This clubhouse is going to be approximately 2,500 square feet, include not just a pool, but there are other amenities. There's community room, there's fitness, there's ability for classes and things like that to go on. It'll also be used as the multifamily portion there. There's a dog wash. There's quite a bit of amenities that we're putting in there. This particular site was chosen for several different reasons, and one of the main ones is that just like was brought up, we have single family, then we have the duplexes, and that particular site works as a good buffer. It's not really a good restaurant site. I mean, that's what's laid out there, and it just really didn't work that way. But the ground further down, is far more commercially viable, and we felt that the clubhouse was a good buffer between those two. So, in working through this, that's where we ended up. We are ready to, move forward with the project. This isn't something that we're asking for this, and then maybe 2-3 years to build the clubhouse. Our, intention is to start construction. we think we've put together a very nice, addition for the neighborhood that's going to be a plus for everybody. We've been in touch with the single-family residents and through their HOA and talked about, what our project is, and it seemed like we have good support there. So, we're hoping that you can support it as well.
Okay. Could you share with us what company you're representing
I'm with Ward Development.
with Ward Development? Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions of the applicant by the commissioners?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
So you have no idea in mind what the design will be for the clubhouse? Are you going to mimic the one that is used for the single family?
We've actually got several concepts that we've worked through. The single family has a just really a amenity structure that goes with the pool that includes restrooms and that type of thing. The single family side does not have a full clubhouse with the community room and fitness and that type of thing. This one will. As far as matching styles and stuff like that, yes. The concepts that we're looking at and working through design-wise, like I said, approximately 2,500 square feet, and just like was mentioned, needs to match the neighborhood and architecturally fit what we have there.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I do have a question. Since we're looking at rezoning this for a clubhouse and a pool, for duplexes and everything, I gather, how are you going to support this? Are you going to charge fees to the people in the duplex, or is it going to be fee as you pay as you come?
No, it is an amenity to the residents there of the the duplexes. Now, we talked and we've gone through some different ideas and stuff like that. The single-family residents, there are some uses there that could have a fee involved. I don't know what those would be, but if they wanted to use the community rooms or something like that, or maybe through a subscription base, the fitness center and that type of thing, those are definitely things that we've talked through. But specifically, that clubhouse is an amenity for, and is marketed. It would be marketed with, the rental and stuff like that of the duplexes.
So you're making this as a amenity to the people that rent duplexes.
Correct.
So you can keep them full.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
It's not going to be a standalone retail situation?
No, there's not any intention to make it a standalone project that would look for subscription and stuff like that as a means of supporting it. It's supported as an amenity to the duplexes.
Well, and on that, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Are you going to allow the public to pay to participate or come? Because there's nothing south for anybody.
Sure. It actually has been discussed, again, with the single-family side, that a subscription type of, basis would be available. Those details have not been finalized, but yes, it has been discussed and it is definitely an option.
Okay.
Are there any other questions from the commissioners? I have a question. What is the little notched out area?
That is actually the entry monument for the single-family homes. That particular parcel right there is owned by the HOA for the single-family side.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Any other additional questions from the Planning Commission? Then I'll close. Okay.
Did he say that they had basements and garage, two-car garages with the duplexes? Did he mention that?
He did not say it.
Could you answer that?
The
Come
duplex.
forward, you gotta come back.
The current duplex design is a slab-on grade with, single car per side.
No basements.
There are no basements, no.
Well, I have you up here. Can I ask a quick question?
Certainly.
Since we haven't closed it yet. Are you gonna have a basement in the clubhouse?
At this point in time, the design, again, calls for a slab-on grade, no basement.
Because that would be a very good tornado security for your duplexes.
It sure would.
Yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, the
Another
current
amenity.
design calls for the slab, but that's definitely something that I'll bring to them as a,
I mean, the cost would be greater for the clubhouse, but it could be a costly thing if you don't, for the residents, if there was a tornado.
I
So, think
understand.
it that way.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions from the commissioners?
Madam
And I'll
Chair,
close- Another one?
I just want to, did you say that they could not do this without the rezoning? Or would it be possible with the commercial just changing the overlay?
If it was typically zoning, when you approve a rezoning or request a rezoning to be approved, staff usually suggests the most applicable rezoning or zoning district. And in this case, since it is an amenity, staff recommended the two-family PRO zoning district. If it was a general business zoning district and they came forward and requested a similar application, it would be open to a GB zoning district may allow a commercial operation in the same location, but that would have to be a different application.
Yeah, in essence, the staff felt that this was a residential use, an accessory use to be the residential two-family or the duplexes. It's an amenity for the residential use, and so that's why staff suggested it be a residentially zoned parcel, so that it's tied to that residential use. I don't believe we have a clubhouse as like a residential clubhouse as a land use that would be allowed in the commercial zoning district. So that's why when working with the applicant, we asked them, that was our suggestion.
Okay.
Madam Vice Chair, since they're talking about opening it up to other people, not just the residents of the duplex, would we still have to change it because it could be a business?
If I understood
It's already zoned business.
If I understood the applicant correctly, they were opening up to the single-family Eagles Ridge
But
residents.
he also said that would also open it up, they're considering it, to people south that don't, there's only the pull up north.
I don't believe that's their intent.
I know it's not their intent, but if they could do that, would we have to still change the zoning?
At that point, we would not consider it to be a accessory use or an amenity for those two-family duplexes.
Well, it still is, though.
But it's still built on a tract. And so then at that point, we would need to come back and reevaluate that and turn it into a commercial lot for a commercial use. This is supposed to be, and it's been explained to us from the developer, that this is merely an accessory amenity for the residential units, as most other subdivisions throughout the city have. I don't believe their intent is to open this up to be a 24-hour fitness or something like that. This is to be a benefit for the residents that already live there.
Okay.
Here's my concern. And again, I'm not saying that you're planning on doing this. I'm just saying somewhere down the line, we've got the two-family zoning in place, and yes, it has to come back before us, but do we have less room to deny replotting this to individual lots with that underlying zoning than we would have as it currently stands?
Is the concern that at some point this corner will not be used as a clubhouse, but will in fact be turned into a duplex.
Or a row of duplexes, yes.
Yes.
And we would have less room to deny changing that tract because the underlying zoning is already two-family.
There is still a PUD concept plan, correct? And
PRO.
so there is quite a bit of discretion when the Planning Commission and/or City Council approves a PUD concept plan. So just because the underlying zoning is in place, trying to put a residential use there in something that was intended to be a commercial amenity, act like a commercial amenity for the subdivision, there would still be the ability for Planning Commission to weigh in on that and to have a say in that and to say no if you so chose.
Are there any other comments? Then I'm going to close the public hearing. I'd like to request a motion for agenda item 5, the rezoning.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I would move to approve rezoning RZ 12197190.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. This will be a roll call vote.
Planning Commissioner Cradoff,
Nay.
Commissioner Banks,
No.
Commissioner Billups,
No.
Commissioner Sanderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Stokenberry,
Aye.
Commissioner Hose,
Aye.
Commissioner Veal,
Nay.
Vice Chair Fairbanks.
What's the vote so far? 4 to 4?
No, 3 to 4.
I'll vote yay.
Yeah, it's a tie.
So I voted yes, and that made it a tie.
Yep.
Okay, now, there's a thing on what a tie is. It fails.
Right, and it still goes to council.
Okay, this item did not pass the Planning Commission. It failed, but it will still be heard at the City Council at their Tuesday, January 21st meeting at 6 p.m. Do we have a request for a motion for item number 6 on the agenda, the PRO concept plan with 5 staff conditions?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner.
because I think this can be done even if the zoning doesn't change, I would move for approval of the amended PRO concept plan, PROC 12197189 with the 5 conditions.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. This will be a roll call vote.
Planning Commissioner Banks,
No.
Commissioner Billups,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Stokenberry,
Aye.
Commissioner Hose,
Aye.
Commissioner Veal,
Nay.
Commissioner Cradoff,
Nay.
okay, he's not here, and Vice Chair Fairbanks.
Aye.
It's passed.
This motion carried, and the item will be heard at the City Council meeting at January 21st at 6 o'clock. Okay, is there any other business to come before the commission?
We do not have any official business. However, I would ask that the Planning Commission stick around after we adjourn. I would like to give you an update on some of our staffing updates that we have going on in the planning department. So I
Okay.
don't want that to be on the official record, but if you guys could stick around, I'd like to be able to talk to you
Okay,
about that after we
thank
adjourn.
you. So then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Vice Chair, good job tonight. I make a motion that we adjourned.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Meeting is adjourned. Everybody want to vote?
All in favor?
In favor? Okay, motion carried. We are adjourned.